Hey guys, RC here, back with episode 2 of our Let's Play. We're playing Draft Day Sports College Basketball. Yes, I do have another Let's Play with another basketball game. I also have a football Let's Play and a baseball Let's Play. So this is actually one of 4 Let's Plays that I've got going on. Because these Let's Plays are career based because they're sports games, they're going to last much longer than something like some of the other Let's Plays that I've done, or a lot of other people do. Dwarf Fortress or Rim World or something like that. That's why I have 4 of them going at a time, and I'm just going to end up rotating, putting them up, so I hope nobody minds that. But anyway, we're back with recruiting, and I guess I fibbed a little bit last time because I just turned the camera back on and started recruiting away, and I didn't go ahead like I said I was. So anyway, but let's get down to. Alright, here's my interested guys. So we're in that 1,000 range. Let me just kind of scroll through, make sure I've got all of these guys. Alright, he's got low interest, but he's out of Missouri, which is okay because it's still in the region. Alright, so here's what I was talking about at the end of the last video. I had mentioned earlier in the video about these keyboard shortcuts that I had read about, but they weren't working. When I was in the screen, I couldn't get them to work. They don't work in the screen. They only work from this master list. All right, so we're going to highlight and hit B, and he's been added to the call list and the watch list. And if we click on him, now they're blue to indicate that we've triggered that. I want to watch film on him, and we're done with that. Now, you'll add to the list from this screen, and then you'll come back and add, but I want to just make sure. So for like him, he's not. So again, if we're on this screen, this is Stevens. We can highlight him, hit B, he adds, and then once we're done, then we would come down and watch film on him. But because there is interest, I want to make sure I hit those guys first. And we see GPAs appearing, so maybe that has something to do with watching film. Alright, Justin McKnight, interest in your school is a question mark. Okay, because now he's number 1. Alright, so now what I want to do is I want to sort, and I want to go down to 1036. This is 1036. This is nationally. Alright, so I only want to look at Great Plains guys. So that's going to, of course, change our rankings. 1097. No, it's not. Okay, so because we're looking at the whole region, it's still based on national. It's when we look at the book that it changes. So 1036. Right there. Alright, so we're going to highlight add, highlight add, highlight add, highlight add. It doesn't hurt if you click on someone and add them if they're already on the list, because you can see up at the top in the notification that they're already on a list if they are. Now, the benefit of adding somebody to your call list is that you're basically behind the scenes, you and your assistant coach are calling that player and saying, hey, this is such and such from Sam Houston State. We're interested in you coming to play for us. Just wanted to say hi. Now you notice I'm clicking here and nothing's happening. They're grayed out when we go in, and the reason is if we look at players on our call list and we update this, we've got a substantial list. And we mentioned in the last video, we did find out confirmation. There is a cap of 50 players on your call list and your watch list. So you don't have to add them to both lists. Watching doesn't do anything. So you could use your call list for the people you're actively contacting, and then a watch list for secondary people. And again, if you want to do it that way, then if for the call list you would use C, and the watch list you would add W instead of the B. B does both lists. So, that would be a way. And then you could pull up either list. Okay, well, here's my call list. All right, I want to delete these guys, and you remove them from your list. And then you could go to your watch list and then add them to your call list to get back up to your 50 players. Possibly. So, all right, we're in the quiet period. What does that mean? Well, quiet means you can call a recruit, you can watch game film, and you can bring recruits to campus. Okay, so I want to look at just my call list, so we're going to update that. We're going to go up to the interest level, and now we just, well, actually, you know what, I still want to do this by OVR, but only the call list. So you see there's that 1036 guy, and we're just going to click on him, and now we're going to start. So Carter and then Sims. So when I'm on Carter, if I hit next, that should take me to Sims. Now I've already watched his film. All right, so we're going to watch film, and we're just going to do this on every player until we don't have any more. So you have 10 people you can watch film on. So again, we did the players that had interest in us first, and now we're going down in order. Okay, now what we can do is we can start contacting. Well, I want to come up and I want to contact by calling the players that are interested, and then if we have points left over, then we'll go elsewhere. As I make offers to people, then I will primarily call the players that I am actually recruiting with a scholarship. Now, I really need to see ratings on these guys before I know what I'm going to offer. So that will be after we run this first week. But what you want to double check is that you have done everything you can. Now, we only have one scholarship this year. Wow. That's interesting. I thought it did, that's something we did not know how many we had. So I'm going to wait until I know for sure. Well, you know what? Actually, I'm going to go ahead and offer this guy because he's the highest interest level. He's one of the higher rated players out of my group. So I want to go ahead and get him in. You'll notice that they do have a pipeline status. So if you start getting players from a particular state, then from a particular school possibly, it will give you a pipeline into that school where you'll have basically a bonus opportunity to get more players. Then you want to come down here and make sure that you have done everything that you can. So you get 10 films a week, 3 host recruits during the period that you're able to do that, and then I think it's 3 scout lives and three or 4 visit recruits during those particular weeks. So but I want to call this guy. So what we're going to do is basically watching film opens the ratings section. The top 10 schools comes from if you bought the recruiting book. You'll start seeing recruiting notes. This is from your assistant calling the player just in general during the week. So next week I'll have some notes. And then when I call the player, that will open up this information. So when we call him, you'll see we'll have an opportunity to choose pitch to discuss pitches or parents. All right, so that's where we want to go here. So we're going to call the player. Sometimes they won't want to talk to you. So you heard the phone ring. He's talking to us. And you have a time remaining bar. Now, it doesn't move by itself. It's based on how many clicks you do. All right, so we're going to go pitch first. All right, he hasn't really told us anything, so now let's get into, all right, and I think we're done with him. You know, I don't want to blow all my money, all my call on him this month, which is okay. Let's go down to him. We're going to call him. We're going to just, now see, he hung up on me right there. Now, the way the game's formulated is when he hangs up, that's not a bug or a glitch. It's not. That's just his way of saying, I'm not interested in talking to you anymore. So he hangs up. And you see, once you've called a player, okay, let's go back to him. It's grayed out, so you can't call him anymore. All right. Now, he's the first one to tell me anything, so I clicked on academics. He says, this is going to factor, but it's only one thing I'm considering. All right, what about location? Well, he didn't give me anything, so I'm going to ask about location again. Wants to play close to home. Big factor. Okay, let's get into general. Let's talk about your parents. Okay, so I had to click twice to get an answer. The first time, non-committal. Second time, he gives me a little bit of information. All right, so now we're going to end that call. And as we can see now, location, it trends to the very high. Academics is also very high. Parents are not wealthy. Without basketball, he probably wouldn't play. So, you know, that's, I'm not sure where that comes into play from a recruiting standpoint. But one thing to think about, I have turned off illegal recruiting. I've turned that off. But if you had illegal recruiting on, that might be indicative. Hey, we don't have a lot of money. We might be a little more willing to take enticements. But what you're also looking for is, what are the parents interested in? And then in your notes, you're going to sometimes see comments that, hey, my parents will have a big say-so in where I go. So just because, let's say location was very low for him and academics is very high, but then he says that my parents are going to play a big role, and then the parents have location as a very high, that could it be your indicator that your pitch needs to be location due to the parents' input over the player's input, and that will come up when you determine the influence level of the parents. So you have to kind of look at all that. All right, let's call the next guy on the list. All right, so he gave us a little bit of information, and you see there that last one, I ran out of power basically, or time, so it disconnected. So that wasn't necessarily him hanging up on me. It was the game saying, okay, you're out of time this week. All right, so we've done everything we can do this week, so we're going to go ahead and advance.
You have new mail.
All right. Now we've had some changes. So first off, we want to go to the home button. I really think that if you get mail, that should default to this page. I just think that makes sense. So we had those three guys come last week. Well, Tory Ward enjoyed his visit. Billy Bell didn't think the visit was very good. Ian Reed, cool visit. I like the campus. So some interest there. National camps, we didn't sign up for any of those. All right, so I'm going to delete the national camps. I want to keep these in case I need to refer back to them. Okay, now we're going to go back into recruiting. And this is where it starts to get monotonous until the games start, because it's just rinse and repeat at this point. I want to look at my Great Plains players. If you have information from the book, it will still show up in here. Okay, but now you can see we've got some ratings showing up. And in fact, let's click on screen there. And you can see all the players that have ratings showing up. That was from watching film on them. All right. Now you also notice, remember, the first person that we watched film on were the people that were interested in us. Remember that? How come I don't have ratings here, but they have plus marks? Well, remember, we only had one guy with 2 stars, and we had 3 guys with 1 star. 4 guys. So now we've got quite a few more guys. So just by calling them, they have come up onto our interest board. Okay, now we haven't watched film on them, so first thing I'm going to want to do is watch film on these guys, and then 3 guys here. And then this 4th guy here, we're going to watch his film. Because remember, watching film opens up the ratings, where now we can see what kind of characteristics we have with a player. All right, now who did we offer? We offered Ward, and we can tell because in the offer column. So let's take a detailed look at Mr. Ward. All right, he's out of Houston, 2.1 GPA. I don't know where his score is going to fall, and he has to have that 880 score. Anything under a 2 I would probably stay away from. And the higher your school's demands for a score grade are, the higher I think your GPA should be. I think an 880 is a relatively low score from what I remember from the old game. So I don't feel horrible in recruiting this guy. Now, 12 points a game, 2 assists a game, 6 rebounds a game for his high school CE King. He's a power forward, so we have to kind of have a little knowledge of what a power forward does. Well, scoring, he's a C average, but he's a very strong inside shooter and a pretty good outside shooter as well. He cannot shoot free throws. He can pass, but he can't handle the ball very well, so he's going to be a one-touch guy. Average rebounder, no defense. Okay, so I'm not really keen on that. So let's get off of him for a minute and let's come look at this other guy. Average score, really good inside shooter, which your power forward is usually taking it to the rack. Good passer, average ball handler, average rebounder, a little bit better defense, but not great. He can actually shoot free throws. Okay. Well, the other thing I can do is say, okay, well, if defense is what I want to focus on, I can sort by that. Now this guy doesn't have any interest, and then everybody else is D's and F's. Okay, well, that doesn't really help me out a lot. So, nobody is really a good defender. So out of these two guys, block, steals, I'm actually thinking possibly that even though he's rated 1643, that Reed might be a little bit better fit for us. Okay, now Ward can shoot from outside, but they're both average scorers, solid passers, and where the big difference is do I want an outside shooter? Well, that's not huge for a power forward. It doesn't hurt, but Reed's a better defender. Both can rebound the same. The only other thing is Ward can block a little bit better, but I think overall defense is more important. So we're going to come in here to Ward, and I'm going to revoke that scholarship, and I'm going to give it to Reed. Now you see Ward, his interest level just tanked. All right, he's no longer interested in me at all. Okay, now Sam Houston, we're at the bottom of his list. I'm going to offer him, I'm going to watch, and I'm going to go scout a live game for him. Now that's going to give me a little more dialed in here, and you can see we've started having some notes. Now this could play a factor. What kind of defense do you play as a team? Do you want to recruit people for a certain type of defense, or do you want to change your defenses up based on what they can play? So you have to think about that. So I'm going to go ahead and call this guy. Alright, he hung up on me, but we got a little bit. Location is huge. He's in Katy, Cinco Ranch, which is on the west side of Houston. And so we are close. I mean, his parents could easily drive to our games. I will need to talk to him more. Now I am going to come to Ward now, and I am going to remove him from my to list because he's no longer interested in me. Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to keep him on there because we're still on his top 10, but he's not interested because we pulled that scholarship. Because I don't like his defense, I'm not going to scout him live unless I just don't have anybody else. So what I want to do is I want to come back here to the OVR, and well, no, I want to go to interest first. So I should have already watched film. Yes, I have. And you can also tell that by, if they have an asterisk next to their name, it means you've done something in their recruiting. All right, so Walls, I remember doing that as well. All right, so let's look at Ferguson. We're going to scout and host him. Then we'll come down to Forte. We're already watching film, so we'll scout and host, but he declines. I don't have any live scouting left, so now we're going to just kind of go through and see if we can get anybody else to come visit us. All right, Broderick. What's the deal with him? Broderick. Okay, so we already have him. Defense. Not a very good scorer. Alright, so I'm really not interested in him either. So you know what? I'm going to take him off my list. Alright. And we'll come back and do that in a minute. But, because what I want to do is I want to kind of filter out the guys that I don't want on my call list. And then we can add some additional guys that maybe we'll start calling and getting some information on. Okay. So we've done that there. Let me kind of come through here again. I don't think he would come. That was right. And you don't see me clicking to close out that box. The enter button is working to do that. Just a heads up. All right, Kevin Campbell. Walls. No. All right. All right, we've already called him. So let's start just calling these guys. And I want to try to get information on his parents. So, you kind of alternate back and forth between these. All right, we're going to end call. Tyron Webb. Now I could watch more film on him, but I'll probably want to add some more people and watch some film on them. Where is Webb? There he is. So his defense is an F. So what I want to do is this is where it gets complicated. He has some interest, so we know we're not going to get superstar players. We may have to make do. So what I'm going to do is, this guy is a D, so Harris. So I'm going to watch some more film on him, and then I'm going to call him. Again, I'm going to go to pitch first, just try to pick up a few things. And then we're going to try to get a little bit of information there. All right, then we'll end that call. All right, that was Harris. And I was basing that off of defense. And let's go down to Broderick. So we could watch a little more film. Oh wait, why did I take him off the list? Oh, because he was not a good scorer. Now, here's the problem. I can't cancel that. So I've already burned that. He's an average rebounder. But you know what? Let's go ahead and just add him back on for right now. And we'll call him. Alright, and that was the last call. So I think I'm going to go one more sim before I start pulling people off of this list. Because I want to give maybe 2 weeks to see if, just like last week, we had about 6 more people pop on here. It's possible we'll see some more people come up here. Now, I did lose the one guy. I took off the one guy, right? So we're going to update this, and I want to go to Texas again. And we want to go into the OVR. And alright, maybe I didn't take him off. Oh, I kept him on the list. That's right. Even though I pulled the scholarship offer, who was that guy? Ward. Was it Ward? Bell? No? I don't remember. Alright, well, we're going to go ahead and put a cut in here. We'll run the next camp and recruiting session in the next video. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys. Thanks a lot.